Hi, can you tell me who you are and your role in the college?
My name is Nicholas Taylor. I'm Study Centre Assistant.
Okay, what do you see as the term digital literacy? What do you think that means? What does it mean to you?
Well, there are degrees of literacy with regard to the written word, so I would say there are degrees of literacy with regard to digital literacy. I think in this context it refers specifically to information technology. I mean, you could talk about digital literacy with regard to ability to operate any kind of digital equipment, from a VCR, a DVD, right up, but let's think about IT. I really, beyond just being able to switch it on and log on, then you're into digital literacy. Just be able to use Windows, be able to use any of the applications, right up to advanced databases and so on. It's all literacy.
Okay. Are you aware of any support in terms of effective digital literacy skills, especially the ones for education?
There is support within this college provided by the study centres, because I do that myself as part of the inductions to the study centres. We do, we have a basic run over what the packages are that we've got available, what operational systems we're using, that type of thing, and that we do one-to-one sort of ad hoc sessions with the students. Aside from that, there's not really anything that's formalised. There's no formal support. It's more sort of a troubleshooting type affair where a problem arises and you deal with it as it arises. So there is support, but it's not, to my mind, adequate.
Okay. Do you think today's students have got good IT skills generally?
Generally, I'd say yes. Not all. There is definitely a generation gap. The old generation, obviously you get the silver surfers who are fantastic, but for the kids, the young ones who are coming in of very, very high literacy with regard to IT, but not all of them. I mean, we do kind of presume that they can have a computer at home, they can have an iPhone, they can have an iPad. Well, that's not always the case. So I don't think you can presume it, but generally, yes, I'd say that students are coming to the college fairly digitally literate.
Okay, so they've got good IT skills, but would you say they apply them effectively? One example, possibly Google.
Yes. Well, no. If you're going to talk about internet searching and research, I'd say no. During the induction sessions that I give, where we touch upon digital literacy, it's very rare that a student has even clicked the advanced tab in Google, let alone used a meta search engine or a gateway search engine. These things are unknown to them. They haven't got any further than Google. They know their sites. They know the sites they like, usually social networking and YouTubing and that sort of thing. They know all that. They haven't really gone any further than that. They're au fait with the operation of the machinery itself, but with regard to going in depth and being able to carry out a scholarly research, definitely not. No, they're not at that standard until I've had them in one of my classes.
Do you think well, you touched on this before, do you think there's a mismatch of IT skills between students and staff?
Yes, I'd say there is, but it's not as bad as it has been. I've been with the college 4.5 years now. When I first joined the college, there was a big gap. I was dealing with members of staff who weren't even sure what an email was.
What about habits? Do you think there's a big gap in habits, like IT?
Yes,
habits?
Yes. Staff their social life isn't plugged into the net. They're not. Where the students, their social life revolves around mainly Facebook.
And what about cultures and when I say like academic skills, some of the processes, if you like, of using IT. Do you think there's a gap in the way they do things, like the process of, say, finding information or process of putting information together? Or do you think staff and students?
There's a gap between staff and students with regard to academic capability of using the internet and IT generally. There is, yes. Students are different in their attitude towards that. I think there's a lot of play involved in using the internet and IT in that way. You've got to just get hands-on, get in there and have a go. I think staff prefer what you rightly term processes They want a bullet point list to work their way down. Mainly, not saying that for all of them. These are everything I'm saying here is rule of thumb, really.
Okay, in today's society, do you think if you've got IT skills, you're more effective?
Definitely, no shadow of doubt about it.
Why do you think that?
Well, so pretty much everything has got a .com on it now. That's just where the world is. It's like the Industrial Revolution. So we're in the technological revolution now. We've been in it a while now. Our culture has changed.
Yeah, it's interesting, the government's new initiative, it's like digital by default.
Yeah.
It's sort of early stages, but interesting.
Definitely, yeah, definitely.
Do you think there's too much emphasis on tools rather than processes then?
I'd say in academia, no, I wouldn't say that there was too much emphasis on tools rather than processes. I think that's quite well balanced, actually, from working in college. But in culture, in our culture, definitely, yeah. The gadget itself is more important than what it does. The fetishization of IT technology, which was promulgated by Apple, is ubiquitous now. It doesn't make this PC is transparent and looks fantastic. It doesn't do anything different from this Mac. It looks fantastic, costs twice the price. It does exactly the same thing as the PC next to it. Different is that one's white and that one's black.
Do you think that bleeds into education somewhat?
No, I don't think so, because I don't think education can afford to be fetishized by
But do you think that's a
technology.
problem, though, that we can't necessarily keep up or fund that sort of thing? Do you think that's a problem, or is it?
No,
does it need to get kept separate? Do you think?
I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing because there's been a victory of style over substance with regard to IT and everything else in our culture, probably. But that isn't a good thing, and I think it's not being obsessed by whether it's a touch screen and whether the corners are rounded, but knowing what you're actually doing with it is.
And they are different things entirely, aren't they?
Yeah,
Completely.
yeah.
To sum up then, what sort of support do you think would be useful for learners and teachers maybe to know how to use their digital literacy skills effectively?
I think there needs to be more assessment early on in when the students enrol as with regard to what they're capable of with regard to digital literacy, and then there should be programs in place, more formal programs, to be able to bring everybody up to the same level, exactly like we do with functional skills.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much for your time, Nick.
You're welcome.